So the nice thing about AusHSI is that it's a very low cost application process to go through. Unlike other national competitive schemes which take up a lot of people's time, we aim for our applicants to have a fairly easy time making applications. So we only ask them to write 1,200 words where they tell us about their research, what they're going to do with the money, why their research is important, where their data are going to come from, and how they're going to use their data. They then paste the 1,200 words into an HTML box and push submit, and then that's the application process done.
Yeah. So I noticed that you didn't mention track record during all that. Is track record not important?
No, we're not really that interested in people's track record. We tend to be excited by really good, novel, exciting ideas, and we're not too interested in what people have done in the past. It's more about what they're going to do in the future. So if people do have a strong track record, then that's nice to know, but it's really about their ideas. That's what we value. What kind of designs appeal to you? Is it the simple study designs, have they got value, or does it need to be fancy and complicated?
Most definitely. I mean, I think, one thing about AusHSI is we want projects to be delivered within a year. So, it's no good coming to us with a very long, even if it's a wonderfully designed longitudinal study following people over a decade. We want quick, simple study designs. They're the ideas that leap out at us. It's the ones where you've got somebody working in health who has an obvious problem that they want to fix, but they need to partner up with an academic to give them a nice tight study design, and they're really the projects that really float to the top.
So I think the story is important. Decision makers and politicians in particular do think in terms of stories rather than complicated data sets. So a good project will be one that tells an intuitive story that a decision maker can follow, and the evidence and the statistics is sufficient for them to feel confident.
That's right, yeah, and I mean, you still want to get that peer-reviewed paper out there. You still want a different level of evidence for your colleagues, your fellow doctors and nurses can understand. But yeah, when it comes to dealing with decision makers, it's definitely a different style of presentation that you need.
Fixing healthcare is a huge problem, but I think there are many low-hanging fruit in health services. There are many obvious, clear, simple things that we can fix almost immediately without much investment and without much data, but a little bit of data, a little bit of research, and those low-hanging fruit are really where we need to start. And some examples of these could be discharging patients in really good health, so making sure our vulnerable elderly patients go home with good knowledge of health services, with their nutrition in good shape, their health in as good shape as possible, and maybe some follow-up in the community. And we've gathered some data on this which have shown that if we do discharge patients in very good condition, then they come back to hospital less frequently. And this is good common sense research, and it saves millions if not billions of dollars every year.
So we're spending more and more on healthcare every year. What's the solution?
Well, unfortunately, healthcare can't be fixed. Governments promise election after election that they're going to fix healthcare, but that's bluster. There's no real way of fixing healthcare, and the reason there's no way of fixing it is that our demand for healthcare is enormous, and it's growing every year as more therapies and more treatments become available. We have higher expectations of our health services, and resources just can't keep up. So the demand for healthcare will always outstrip the supply. And what this means is that we have to make tough choices, and we have to be quite explicit about the groups we choose to offer services to, what kinds of services they get, and how long they receive them for. And this is really where good health services research and health economics has got an important role to play. So it's about managing the problem for the best outcomes, but there will be no solution to the issue of healthcare. Right. And that's something that I think policymakers and decision makers need to take on board.